Siman Aleph Sif Yud, the Ramah. The Ramah says, Im eina roitze lichnois ele liftoir, if he doesn't want to enter into marriage with an arusa, then his choice is either you enter into marriage with the arusa, or you give her a get, but you cannot allow her to remain and have a status, an arusa, of being in no man's land, not fully married to her husband, and not fully and not allowed to marry anyone else because she's an arusa to her husband. That is the explanation of these words according to the base Shmuel. V'hu adin, and a similar halacha applies, says the Ramah, b'chol makam sheyesh dichui mitzvah. In any case where there is a mitzvah that forces us to make a move. Kegoin, for example, sheshoim ishtay eser shanim v'lo yalda. If a person is married for 10 years to the same 10 years to a lady, and she doesn't give birth in all of those 10 years, she's not able to give birth. So in such a case, you allowed to the cherem de Rabbeinu Gershom, according to this opinion, didn't extend to such a case. And if the man wanted to take another wife in order to fulfill his mitzvah of Pirya Urviyah, he is allowed to do so. Amnam yesh cholkim. However, that's not a universally accepted, a universal opinion. There are those that argue with that opinion. Usvira lahem, and they maintain the cherem Rabbeinu Gershom noyeg afilu b'makom mitzvah. They maintain that cherem the Rabbeinu Gershom applies even in such a case. Like, let's say that the woman wasn't able to bear children within over a period of 10 years, and therefore it was. The husband would be allowed to divorce her, and according to the first opinion in the Ramah, would be allowed to take another wife, and Rabbeinu Gershom wouldn't apply. Nevertheless, these opinions argue and say, no, he can never take another wife. He could divorce the first wife, but if he remains married to her, he's not allowed to marry a second wife. Afilu b'makam yibum, and these opinions hold even if there's a yibum, in contradistinction to what the Mechaber said before. Even if there's a yibum, v'tzarech lachloitz, the husband would be forced to do chalitza because he already has a wife, and Rabbeinu Gershom would extend, according to this opinion, even in that case. Ubemakim she'eina rishoina bas gerushin. Now, what happens in the case where the first wife that a person marries is not capable of receiving a divorce? Kegoin shenishtatis. For example, she contracts or she develops a mental illness, and she's no longer mentally competent, halachically considered mentally competent, to receive her get. Or there's some halachic imperative that he has to divorce her. For example, if she's an overes aladas, if she gives up on Yiddishkeit, she doesn't go to the mikveh, and she doesn't observe any Torah mitzvahs. So in such cases, the halacha could require and obligate a person to divorce her. So in the case of a woman who's incapable of being divorced, or who's absolutely required to be divorced, but won't cooperate, because if she's an overes aladas, she will reject the gittin as well. She doesn't want to receive a get from her husband. So then there's room to be makil and to allow him to marry another woman, even though he has even though he's married to this first woman and it is impossible for him to technically give a valid get. And if that's so, according to these opinions, that we are more lenient, so we're certainly more lenient in a case where she's an arusa and she doesn't want to accept a get from him to sever the ties or to marry him. So she wants to remain in that, have that aguna status of that no man's land status. In such a case, we do not, we are mekel, we do not impose the cherem der Rabbeinu Gershom. V'loi pashta takanosa b'chol ha'aratzos, says the Mechaber that the Cherem de Rabbeinu Gershom was not this part of the Cherem, which says that a woman is not allowed a man's not allowed to marry more than one wife. So the Cherem against polygamy was not accepted in all lands. In contrast to the other part of the famous part of the Cherem, which is that women are that you're not allowed to divorce a woman against her will. That was universally accepted across the entire Jewish community. But this part of the Cherem, according to the Mechaber, wasn't. Hagad, the Ramah continues, the Ramah comments, V'dafke b'makom she'yadu shalei pashta takanosei. Aval min hastam noeg b'chol makom. Where is the Mechaber correct in saying that the minhag, that the Cherem did not extend to a certain locale? That's only if we know for a fact that locale did not accept it. But the default position is we assume that a locale has accepted the Cherem unless we have evidence to the contrary. V'ayin b'yeridei siman reish chav ches im halach mimakom shenag ulahachmil makom shenag lahakel. You see over there in Yeridea, if he goes from a place where if the person is born, lives married in a place where they have the Cherem, and then he moves to a place where they don't have the Cherem, so does he have to keep the Cherem because of the first place where he got married, or is he allowed to marry a second wife because now he's living in a different place? And the halacha is that it follows the person. So if he got married in a place where the Cherem applied, then it follows the person to the place where the Cherem doesn't apply, and vice versa. If the Chumrah on the other way, if he's coming from a place where it doesn't apply, he has to accept the stringency of the locale where he is. But that's all discussed in Yeridea, Siman Reish Chav Ches, V'lo hechrim ela ad seifa elef hachamishi, and the Cherem was only in effect, at least this part of the Cherem, according to many, which is the part of the Cherem which deals with the fact that with polygamy, expired in Elef HaChamishi. The other, according to most people's understanding, the other part of the Cherem that you can't force a wife to get divorced against her will, that did not have an expiration date. The Mechaber comments further, Umikol Makom B'chol Medinas Elu Hatakanav Minag Bimkeima Omed. Nevertheless, in all our countries, in all the Ashkenazic Eastern European countries, the minhag remains, and the takana remains, even though it is beyond the Elef HaChamishi. The custom is to continue to abide by the takana. Ve'ein noisim beis nashim, and we do not allow polygamy, v'koifin, v'charamis, u'neduyin, misha over v'noisa beis nashim, and we force the person using the tools at our disposal, which are charamim, nidui, we put him into cherem until he divorces one, legarish achas mehen, until he divorces one of them, and the one that he has to divorce is, by the way, the second one. So the first one he married, the first wife he married, the second wife is the one that he has to divorce. There are those that say, lechatchila today, the custom is that we don't allow him to get married, but if he does, then we don't force him to abide by the Cherem, because we've already passed the expiry date of the Cherem. But that is not how we conduct ourselves. We actually and practically do force the person to divorce his second wife. And there is an opinion that says that if a person's wife converts out of Judaism, she shmads, and she's no longer a practicing Jewess, so she won't accept a get. You could give the get, because of the principle of zachin li'adam shalei b'fanav, you're allowed to give the get to a third party, and that third party accepts the get on her behalf, so that she has the status of a pnuya, and as she goes around with amongst the non-Jewish community that she's now made her community, at least she's not an Eishes Ish doing that, and for her that is a schus, and therefore you're allowed to go to this third party and do a tripartite divorce. And the person can then go and marry another kosher Jewish woman, v'chein noegin b'ktas mekemus, and this is indeed how the practice in a number of places. But if there's no custom, ein lahachmir, we are not stringent. And he's allowed to marry somebody else without divorcing the first wife in the case where she has converted out of Judaism and no longer practices her Judaism.